Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Michael. Today, we're going to talk about branding your business, your real estate investing business. But the conversation today can really spill over into any business because branding is something that is quite universal. Marketing, branding, getting your message out there, having a name, having a presence. And we're going to talk to two people today that I've known now for a couple of years. They came into our community, KeySmart community, as Inner Circle members, and I've met them a number of times at our investor summit. And at the last summit, they had all of their branding set up. It was just amazing what they did. So I thought there's nobody better here to talk to you about the starting phase of your branding, how you get it set up, what it looks like, and how it can really drive your business. So you guys are in for a real treat today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am suffering from the isolation hair here, so I think we're all kind of in the same boat. I just get to be on camera every day, so you guys get to see my hair slowly fall apart as days go on. Funny story, yesterday I cut my 2-year-old's hair because his bangs were like down to here. They were really low. We were going to get a haircut right before. And I cut his hair without telling my wife. And it was a disaster, of course. Like I don't know how to cut hair. And so I cut his hair and it's all choppy on the front and then it's long down here. Maybe I'll get you guys a picture tomorrow or something. But my point is, I don't think I'm going to try that with my hair quite yet. I don't think I'm that desperate, but I'm just going to kind of let it go here and have some fun. Maybe I'll shave for us one day here. But that's my hair story. Cut my 2-year-old's hair. Didn't turn out very well. I would love to hear from you guys in the chat. Has anyone tried to cut their hair or family member's hair while you're home? And we don't have those types of services. So shoot it in the chat. I would love to hear. As always, if you guys have questions, there's a Q&A little button down at the bottom. That's where my guests and I will be looking for the questions today. So in the chat, you can share your stories and say hi to each other and communicate with the three of us. But if you have a question for us, please put it down in the chat. That's where we'll be looking for it. So without further ado, I want to bring Ray and Joe up on here. Ray and Joe are the co-founders and creators of BV&Co. That is their real estate investing company, and it's an amazing platform and concept that they've built their company branding on. It's very simple. They want to create amazing returns and a life for their investors, for other people, while creating a lifestyle for themselves so that they can spend time with their 2 young kids, 3 and 5. And so you can see in their picture that was on our registration page, them with their kids, and just an amazing story. And it's I think what most of us are really after, and certainly people that are in our community and people that are watching are after the combination of these two things. How can I start and run a business where I can give myself not only financial but lifestyle freedom of my time to choose when I work? Doesn't mean I'm going to work less hard. You just get to choose, while I can impact or help other people and bring other people along a journey with me. And it's exactly what their mantra and their philosophy is. So I want to bring Ray and Joe on here now, and I want to talk about branding and JV partners. So welcome, guys. Welcome to the show here. See if we can get on our mics.
Good morning.
There we go. Unmute. Awesome. We're here.
Good morning, guys.
Fantastic to be here.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for being here. I haven't seen you. I think last time we saw each other was back in January at the summit. Is that when it was? I think that's about right. Saw you guys in January and saw your great branding. I'd love to show our viewers some of that branding at some point during the show today. We got a chance to chat. And then we were chatting on the pre-show today. It's why we're a little bit late. Sorry, everybody. We had some great conversations on the pre-show of what's happening today in real estate. So really excited to hear what you guys are up to. And Joe, you said something great today. Right before we got on that we were chatting about, you said, Michael, we haven't been doing this for 25 years. We've only been doing this for 3 years. So that's what I want to, talk about and tell people about. And I think that's amazing because most of our viewers haven't been doing this for 20 or 25 years. They might've been doing this for 1 or 2 years or just getting started. So you guys are like the perfect example of how you can start up, be a couple years in, and have these certain systems and things set up. So I think it's just an amazing story, the things that we're going to learn about. So Thank you guys for being here. I do want to mention too, you guys have you have 2 young kids at home that are
Three
on
and
their own
four.
right now.
Yeah, 3 and 4.
Yeah, so forgive me if they come like running into the screen looking for more snacks. I've set them up with iPads and everything downstairs, but you never know.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
no problem. Yeah, if they got to come in, if you got to step away, no problem. I think that's great of having 2 of you. You don't leave everyone alone with me. You guys get there's
right.
2 of you, so there's somebody here. So let's start by talking about we can almost continue from yesterday's episode. We had Wendy and Mike on, who the 2 of you know, and they're Inner Circle members as well. And we had some amazing conversation around how to be partners with your life partner or your spouse, and then how to find other partners and bring them in and use your superpowers, your unique ability, and help other people while you run a business. So let's, before we get into the branding piece, tell us a little bit about how the 2 of you work together, how you operate, what your unique abilities and values you bring to the partnership are, because people are really interested in how that works, the internal partnership.
So
Over to you, honey. You take that one.
Yeah, sure, babe. I'll start, and then you cut me off when I've gone too far or way off the rails. And that's the first thing, is that my wife keeps me on track. She keeps me focused, and she keeps me organized. So without my wife, I wouldn't be able to do this. I'm a full-time real estate investor, and my wife is still a full-time corporate employee. So it does create a little bit of a difference between the time that we can both spend on the business, but the input that we have is generally 50-50 right across the board. So, the areas that I really like to work on, sorry about being a little hoarse here this morning. I've been battling the bug there for the past few days, but I'm doing fine. I like to focus on growing the business. I like to focus on developing the relationships, making the contacts, learning more about the different strategies and how we can execute them. So, I love the hunt for, the real estate opportunities, doing the numbers, putting them together, everything like that. Then where Jo really comes in is that, she keeps me on keel. Sometimes I get a little overexcited and I can, kind of go off on a tangent, and she'll keep me really, really focused. She's great at kind of understanding, what are the next steps, right? How do we lay out the tasks? What do we need to do? Let's take a look at the diligence. So generally, I bring a lot of enthusiasm to the table. I'm I'm an energy kind of guy. And I do, I like to do some of the fun things that we've been doing. But Jo is really, she's really the strength behind the team. So I'll let you talk to that a little bit, hon.
No, I think that's you got it spot on. Ray's the one who really he's the vision guy, he's the big picture guy. He has the energy and the drive, and he pushes us forward, which is amazing. Where I come in, and I think this is again a little bit maybe to where my background is. So I'm a fundraiser, corporate fundraiser, and so I build relationships with people and with businesses. I work in the charitable sector, so I build kind of win-win relationships. But in order to move forward, the plan kind of has to be laid out very clearly in advance. And so that's I think what I bring to the table is I bring the vision and the energy kind of focus down a little bit, so we can have some focus, and we have some clear next steps, and we move systematically to make sure. Because I'm a little risk averse, right? And so this was a bit of a jump, moving into real estate investing. And it was a bit scary at first. And so I wanted to be very, very careful and cautious. And so far, so good. So far, it's been amazing, but and I think we balance each other really well on that.
Excellent. Yeah. And it sounds like your background, your nonprofit background, I think you are 11 years with WWF, 5 years with United Way. Sounds like that's really been able to add a lot of value and drive a lot of philosophical perspective to your business in terms of, we're not just going out there to make money. We're going out there, and I've heard you guys say this, and I've read it across your stuff. We're there to be able to help other people and impact their lives while we improve our life and make our life better. So would you say that would be a big influence in the entire, business mission statement?
Definitely. So, I think my background, I'm actually a zoologist by training, which is very odd. But I guess hence the WWF, not the wrestlers, World Wildlife Fund. But I think, I moved into major gifts fundraising for a period of time, and that just felt very, it was very much like I was asking people to give me their money for an amazing cause. And I was trying to build a win-win scenario there, but it's a little more challenging. Major gifts is a really tough job. When I moved into corporate fundraising, I think that really lends itself to this, which is it's business. The company has a goal, the company has a mission, the company has something that they need to achieve, whether it's something within their brand or their CSR mandate or whatever it is. So my role is to really, and this lends itself perfectly to, raising funds, is trying to figure out what is their need, what is their problem, how can I help them solve their problem, and we build a partnership that is win-win, and it doesn't move forward unless it's good for both parties. So yeah, my work, my day job definitely lends itself to our work in real estate for sure.
I love that connection. Let's go there now in terms of the win-win, the solutions-oriented business. So how do you do that practically? Okay, so now you've got with BV&Co. How do you? Okay, so let's get into the branding. So how do you let people know about you? Number one, and then once people know about you, they call you. How does it work? They call you, like if they want to invest with BV&Co. Do they call you, and then one of you gets on the phone? Kind of walk us through the beginning of your customer journey in order to help other people invest their money.
For sure. So with regards to our branding, we did keep it simple, and the BV&Co. is really, really straightforward. Joe's last name, her maiden name, Barrington, mine is Vaza. So BV&Co. is our children. And to what you were talking about earlier, Michael, we're family people, right? It's the heart of us, and it's part of our why. It's that reason that, great. Yes, we want to be able to make money. Yes, we want to be able to be financially free. Those are all wonderful things, but beyond that, why are we doing this? And it has to be helping the friends and family around us. It has to be helping other investors out there. It has to be creating these scenarios that we can all win and grow together. This doesn't happen on its own. No one's an island in this business. I mean, one of the wonderful things about working in the investment community and in the Keyspark community is the support and the networking that you can do. So with that, we developed a very simple brand, a very simple logo, and we kind of came up with, what's the ethos of us, right? And I think I've just summed it up there. In terms of how do we brand ourselves and market ourselves, and how do people find out about us? Right now a lot of it is online. If I roll the clock back to January when we came to Summit, we came there with a clear intention, and part of it was, we put t-shirts together. So we had branded t-shirts, ready to go kind of thing. And there's, some points on the back. It says, this, that, and then call me or talk to me. My wife is an amazing baker, and one of her passions, and in my opinion, she makes the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had. And I love a chocolate chip cookie. So, when we came to Summit, we said, we want to offer something more than just a tchotchke, right? It doesn't want to be a water bottle or, a USB stick or, an item that we could just purchase. We wanted it homemade. We wanted it personalized. We wanted to know that we had put the time and the effort in and done it ourselves and offering it to people. And, simply we baked, I don't know, how many cookies, honey?
I think, 200, 300?
A few hundred cookies at minimum. We
Yeah.
got to do more for the next summit, but we wrapped them up with our business card, and then as we had those conversations with folks, it was a great leave behind or an exchange saying, thanks so much for taking time to talk to us today. We really appreciate it. Here, enjoy a cookie. We hope to see you over the summit. So that was one of the things we did in person. Beyond that, right, I work hard to be able to keep active in the communities. Keyspark Inner Circle is fantastic, and reaching out, making those kind of conversations, making those connections, developing those relationships, it definitely helps. We have, some of the fundamental tools. We built a website. So if you want to go to our website, you can do that there. You can email us and find us. We built a Facebook page, so we've got that presence as well. And then when lockdown happened, I kind of went into networking withdrawal. I needed to talk to more people. So I decided to do exactly what you're doing, which is I just set up a Zoom call on Thursday afternoon, and it's been great. People have been jumping in on that. You joined us one day, which was fantastic, and it's a great way. So my mindset is very much, if we can all continue to work together, connect together, and it's those like-minded individuals, then we continue to rise. And it only happens exponentially, because the more people I surround myself with that are better, smarter, stronger, faster, it's just going to get us there. And then those people that, want to move with us, great, let's come along for the ride. So that's a little bit what we do. And then in terms of contacting us, it's email, it's Facebook, it's, phone call, that sort of thing. We love the joint venture structure. We see it as a great win-win. And we've taken some additional study with Corey and Tiffany Young, and to really specialize in the joint venture. And we're a little bit flexible in how we set ours up. We want it to work for both parties. One of our joint ventures that we did in January, I remember that particular partner coming back to us and saying, well, the numbers are good, but my source of funds is my HELOC and I've got an interest payment. So I said, let us take it away and look at it. And we came back, and maybe I'm crazy. Maybe some of the viewers are going to comment saying you're crazy, or even worse than that. But we looked at it and we said, you know what? We can take this deal and put all the cash flow over to the money partner. We can work on the equity portion of it, right? That's their first deal. Let's get them up and running. Let's show them the benefits of real estate. We know what it's done for us. Let's get them that value. Let's get them that benefit, and let's continue to develop this relationship. So, it's a long-term play, right? This is not a, get rich tomorrow kind of game, as we all know. So that's a little bit about how we operate. We love the joint venture structure, and we love working with individuals. We also love, doing some private money, because it's a win-win on both sides, right?
Yeah, I hope everyone heard that, in terms of you don't have to be greedy, especially on your first JV partnerships, when you're trying to prove to your partner that you can really help them. That's a great strategy that people use, is give them all the cash flow. You're going to make money with the 4 ways to win. There's 3 other ways that you can make money on the piece of real estate. So you give them the cash flow for a period of time, and maybe we can dig into that in a moment too. But I think that's just a great point that everyone should realize, is that we talked about it yesterday. There's no exact formula for a JV partnership. It's what is the problem they're having, and how do you solve it? If somebody needs cash flow, and you don't right now, or you don't in that deal, then you can give them all the cash flow, and then you can still be profitable on the deal. So I think that's a really important point. And I want to kind of pull back high level, the journey that you brought us on with your customer, as your customers. Okay, there's the awareness piece. That's the beginning of any business, is awareness. That is people seeing your company name, seeing your company logo, starting to understand what you do. And so your branding platform is really the tip of the spear when it comes to people doing business with you, your awareness. And then you told us something very important that people should realize, is you need a place to send people. So it's no good if you have amazing awareness if the people can't do anything, if they can't go anywhere, if they can't contact you, if it's just, here's all my great awareness and just shoot me an email. Like, no, that's not how you can funnel people through your business, how to bring people on your customer journey. So like, write this down, guys. They said we have a website, really important. We have a Facebook page, really important. So these are places where you can send people, and then that's how you generate business. I was just checking out your website before the show, and I noticed that it's very simple. You clearly articulate what you do. You've got a couple major solutions. So you're not trying to solve the world's problems. You have a couple solutions, and then an easy way for somebody to get a hold of you. So, a good, simple platform for somewhere to go. So awareness, and then send them somewhere to go. And then I want to get to then what happens? Like, which one of you calls them? How do you call them? What do you say if somebody's interested? But first, can we see some of these, some of your branding pieces? See what you're up to and what you've created.
So it would be actually horrifying if I had a cookie here, because that would just be gross. I don't know how, so I can't show you that.
That would be pretty funny if you just bake cookies every week with your logo on them, just for your own personal satisfaction.
Yeah, that's right. That would be kind of weird. So we made these up for Summit. So these were tent cards, same on both sides. Very simple. It says, helping busy people reap the rewards of real estate investing without lifting a finger. It's got our email address on it and our website, and it has the Facebook and Instagram on it. Really simple. So, you know, where we were sitting, we would put these down. Ray tried to get a little cheeky and he actually put some of these in the bathroom. I don't even.
In marketing language, that's referred to as dwell time, where people actually stop and spend time. So, you know, it's logical.
It's logical, apparently.
The bathroom secret, from what I've heard, is urinal pucks for the men's bathroom, right? Because everyone's going to look at those, and although it's not the most
we're not doing
endearing way to market.
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't want people peeing on my logo. That's the only challenge with that one, right? You have to be prepared to take what comes with that deal. So,
or your face. You can just have your face and say, "Come talk to me." And
oh, that's the worst.
It's the worst. Yeah, but you know what? That would capture attention, right? I've never.
Yes, it would.
Everybody
yes, it
would come talk to you. That's for sure.
Okay, and then we just had like a bag, you know, just a tote bag, and we had one each, and we carried these around they were full of cookies with our stuff, and obviously just business cards, you know, and I think, you know, we have Keyspire on the back, and we have Investor Life, which is what we do with Corey and Tiff, and yeah, we have, you know, all just are simple, really straightforward, black and white, nothing fancy. BV, our kids are Co. We were trying to be creative about the name, but like we couldn't get there. We thought about it for weeks, and then we're like, why are we let's just be simple here.
Yeah, so I'll jump in there because people often get hung up on the name of their business or their product or what they're doing. And my advice to anyone who's creating a business or getting hung up on the name, because it is hard, because you're never going to come up with the perfect name. Yeah. Name is only a perfect name once you execute and use it, and people are getting great results. So let the results speak for themselves. Let the business speak for itself. And at that point, you can call the name almost anything. You know, look at like Groupon, look at even the name Keyspire. It means nothing. When I first told people that I was going to change a company name to Keyspire, they're like, well, what does that mean? It means nothing. And now tens of thousands of people across the country know that they understand what Keyspire means, because you let the business speak for itself. So I think that's a great tip I want to build on of what you said, is don't get hung up on the name. Let your business and your results speak for themselves, and just get a name and get out there, get doing. Yeah.
And I think one thing I just wanted to add, sorry, Hannah, I could see you were going to talk there, but just I wanted to add about what Ray did, what he's been doing for about a year in stepping back to the awareness, like that first step, Michael, that awareness stage. You know, we're what, 3 years in. So, you know, we had to get our brand out there, and we wanted to get it out there in a really genuine way. And so really what Ray did for quite a while was, you know, and he's the primary driver on all of this, because I unfortunately still have my day job, hopefully for not much longer. But, you know, he was just really active in the community on social media and supporting other people. So engaging in the conversations that are happening on Inner Circle and learning that way. So learning from other people, but also offering insights and being really present and visible for, you know, consistently, so that people slowly start to kind of recognize your name, recognize your face, recognize, you know, the logo, and in a really positive, genuine way that is, and that's kind of who we are, is we want to support other people. And so that was really, I think, I don't know, Han, if you agree, that was kind of like our first step in getting our awareness really out there.
So I'll say, you know, it helps. It definitely helps, right? I mean, you're building relationships, you're building the brand, you know, you're building a reputation within the community. So to touch upon what Michael just said, right? When he started Keyspire didn't mean anything. And that's the thing about starting off with a brand and trying to build that and let people know what you're all about. Now, Keyspire means something. People know exactly what it's about. It's got weight. It's got equity. It's understood out there in the marketplace. But back then, it was nothing. does it matter? Michael could have called it, you know what I mean, doorknob instead of key spire. He could have called it anything he would have wanted. It probably would have been as successful regardless, right? A rose by any other name, yada, yada, yada. It's not about the, getting hung up. And it's really about getting out there and getting going, right? And let the ethos of who you are and what you're all about really come through. So if it is helping people, if it's growing, if it's by helping others, I grow myself. By understanding things and getting into solutions, I help myself grow. I help our company grow. I help our brand grow. And this is really what we take it, which is if we can help others, then we help ourselves. And it really is our premise.
And you're really building on something that I like to talk a lot. So hopefully I was a bit of an influence in this, but it's adding value first is really what I like to talk about a lot. And when people first hear me say it, I think it sounds a little bit cheesy or a little cliche, but when you think of practically how you're going to run your business, if you add value first before you ask people to follow you on Facebook, or certainly before you ask people to give you any money, whether you're selling products or raising money, if you add value first and you truly enjoy that, you're going to attract the right people that they can appreciate the hard work you're doing. So in your case, Raymond, before you're, it's not just a matter of printing all this stuff and just throwing it all out there with your logo and hoping people start to like you. It's a matter of adding value first. And then when they're interested, oh yeah, I have this brand, I have the logos here. So I think that's a really important point of the awareness piece. It's not just throwing your branding out there and hoping people will come. It's throwing your value out there, answering the questions on Facebook, being active, helping people out. And then when they're interested, you have the value set up, and then you have the website or Facebook page to back it up. And so I think that's a really important step everyone needs to make sure they either understand, or it's a good reminder for people that are already doing this, is the value. And the cookies, right? The cookies are the value. I'm seeing in the chat how many people were actually at the summit. They're like, great cookies. Those were so good. And I got a cookie too. I get a lot of business cards, and the cookie is memorable because it was delicious. And it was a cookie, right? Who doesn't like a cookie? So awareness. Yeah. The cookie is adding value. It's adding value. And then you have somewhere to bring people. I always recommend a website for anybody watching. You can create websites fairly inexpensive these days. And Facebook page is free. So you can make a Facebook page for free. So those are things that are pretty much table stakes in business today, is to create those two pieces no matter what you're doing. Even if you're not raising money and you're just managing tenants, if you're a landlord, if you're a buyer, a seller, a wholesaler, whatever you do, you need that awareness, that presence piece. Okay, so I got a couple questions here. Let's get to a question, then I want to go to the next step once somebody contacts you. So Dean says, working with spouses can be difficult at times or problematic. How do you effectively resolve business disputes between the two of you? So we heard Wendy and Mike talk about that yesterday. I talked a little bit about how my wife and I operate with our business. So how do you guys manage? A lot of spouses on here, a lot of life partners are watching and doing business together. What are a couple quick tips you can give us on maybe how you guys make it happen?
Well, I'll tell you really, really simply. It comes down to, we have roles in the business. Joe is our CFO, and as long as she's okay with it, I'm good to go. As simply as I can say. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of disagreements because we know what our goals are, we know what we're looking for, and we know what we're after, and we're working towards those. So we don't have a lot of challenges where we butt heads. There might be some times where I might get a little impatient and I might want to move a little bit faster. And again, that's where it's great to have the balance of a little more of a calm thinker that wants to know process versus, let's just leap and always hope for the best kind of thing. So, with that, and then I'll say lastly, right, as a husband and wife team, right, it's that old saying, happy wife, happy life kind of thing. Yes, we work together, we live together, we run our family together, but is this, the goal is for Joe to be able to leave her full-time career in hopefully 12 to 18 months as the business continues to grow for us, and us to both drive at this together. So that would be my my answers back to Dean there.
Yeah,
Joe, what do you think?
Well, I'd agree with that totally. I think Mike and Wendy touched on this yesterday, and so did you, Michael, about having clear roles. which we do. And I think that really, really helps. But in my experience, when we've found ourselves getting to a point where we're just kind of we're not connecting on something, or, Ray's got a big vision and he's like, oh, we could do this, and I'm not kind of feeling it yet. And Ray, you touched on this too, it all comes back to what are our goals? So, that's the foundation for everything. And so having really clearly laid out short-term and long-term goals helps us focus. When we get into those sort of muddly times, we can each take a step back, come back and look at it and just say, okay, is this going to get us to where we need to be in 12 months? Is this the logical next step to get us there? If so, great. I will step back and let's move forward. Or if it's not really the most strategic move for us, then maybe we pause on this one. Or maybe we can think of another way to do it. Maybe there's another, model, because it's not cookie cutter. There's so many options out there. And so, we always come back to our goals. And I think that really helps us clarify how we should move forward and what the next step would be.
Yeah, and I think that the idea of having clear goals and a clear vision, guiding principles for your company avoids half of the conflict in a company, because the goals become the decider, not someone, how their emotional state. We're all different every day. We have emotional states. We're human beings. And so it's not the emotional state that drives the interaction. It becomes the end goal.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Right. The guiding principle is the decision maker, and we are just instruments of that guiding principle as business owners and people in the business. So it's a great way to look at it. I think you. Okay. Safe asks, what is your most common JV structure you use with your clients? So I'll temper this with, we did talk about there is no formula, there is no general structure. It can be different every single time. But as human beings and as business people, it's always good to be consistent and be scalable. So often we'll have a structure that we like and we move in that direction every single time. So you have a structure you like when you work with your partners. What are the rev shares? Who does what in turn? Like, what do you guys do as a partnership? What does the other person do? Give us an idea of your favorite or most common structure. I think that's a great question, Safe.
So for that particular one, it does come down to the property and really what the numbers look like and what the deal is all about. And as Joe said, as it aligns towards our goals. So, that's the fundamental. But typically, I know a lot of it is 50-50 out there. When I'm running my numbers, I always run my numbers for a JV structure on a 50-50 basis. Then I take a step back and I look at it from the money partner's point of view. And I say, okay, if I wanted to be getting into a deal like this, how much am I paying in? What is my return? What is my investment level? Am I satisfied with the cash flow that I'm getting, the equity that I'm getting, the market appreciation that they are forecasting? Is this something that I think that I would get interested in? And if for myself, I can't answer yes to those questions, then I don't feel that I've structured it in a appealing or marketable way to be able to then put it out there to community or be able to discuss it. So I'd love to be able to say there's always a standard, but we start from a 50-50 point, but then I do a review on it and really take a look at it and say, is there a way that we can make this deal work better, more attractive for an investor? Because part of what we want to do right now, as we're still young in the business and we're growing, it's the acquisition phase. So we want to scale and we want to be able to add more partners and properties to our portfolio. So if that does mean cash flow that goes to the money partner, or if it's an equity share on the back end that helps them out, we can work on those particular nuances of the deal. But first off, I've got to look at it. If the cash flow just isn't there, and it's a low appreciation, and it's a significant amount of money that you're putting in, it doesn't get me excited. I don't want to market that out there. I want to have properties that I feel really confident about and really strong about. So it's got to work for us, and it's got to work as I put on if I was my customer's hat or my investor's hat. Will it really, really appeal, and does it work for them? Because ultimately, those are the people that are funding the deal. They're the ones that are putting the money in and qualifying. That is one thing that we look for, though. In any joint venture partnership, the partner has to be able to have the ability to qualify and carry. there is a downstroke that will be provided there. So I'd say those are the two fundamentals that never ever change in terms of those two roles. But then how we work out the share, we always have a split of the equity. Depending on the cash flow, we may portion that 50-50. It might go 60-40, could go a couple of ways. We've done a couple of 100% cash flows, and we're happy to be on the equity portion.
And Wendy did say yesterday, everyone, she said she talked about this particular piece, and she said that have multiple outcome strategies, and always solve the problem that the person on the other end of the table, right? Just like you said, it could be multiple cash flow, it could be multiple outcomes. So I think those are really important things for everyone to take away. I hope you guys are taking notes. I know some of you are just kind of watching while you're cooking or doing things. That's great as well. If you can take notes, that's excellent.
I would say, I just want to add to,
yes.
I know Wendy touched on this as well. I think so much of this, and I think what we're hearing here is there is no right, wrong way to do this. It's all customizable, really. But it comes down to the relationships. And so, the relationship comes first. So by the time you actually get to building the JV structure, you know what your partner, number one, you want to have a relationship with this person who hopefully you will have for many, many years to come, right? So you know their needs, you know what their business problems are, you know what their gaps are. So it's actually quite easy I don't want to say easy, but once you get to that stage, all of those questions have been worked out because you've built the relationship. And I just wanted to sort of emphasize that all of these partnerships are built on the relationship. And hi honey. And you want your next snack. Okay.
Why is that too?
Hello. Hi.
Say hi, Michael. Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Are you okay, bud? Okay.
Man down.
Yeah, if you gotta run, go for it.
Okay.
Snacks are important, absolutely. I'll just shout out to everyone and remind all of our viewers that we have a great show tomorrow. Every day we've got a great show. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about financing. It's Financing Friday. So we're going to talk about financing not only during this pandemic time, but financing in general. How do the banks look at financing today? We have a different guest on tomorrow to talk about financing. So make sure you get registered for that. The rooms are filling up. And then next week, we've got our schedule posted for next week already. So we've got some amazing guests on for next week here. I'm going to pull it up so I can talk about who's coming next week. On Monday, we're going to have Mandy Branham come on. She has been part of our community for many years as well. She is going to talk about seller financing. So the last couple of days, we've talked about JV financing. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about conventional institutional financing. Monday, we're going to talk about seller financing. We want to get you guys money so you can do real estate deals. That is our goal here at Keyspire. On Tuesday, we're going to be talking about marketing. How to market to sellers, tenants, buyers, JV partners. So today is more about branding. And I'd love to find out from Ray and Joe if they actually spend money on ads to market. But on Tuesday, we're going to talk about how do you market, how do you put ads out, whether it's free or paid ads, and how do you market to these groups of people. On Wednesday, we're going to have my two good friends, Sasha and Peter, on from Graybrook Capital, just geniuses when it comes to raising money, billions of dollars raised, and how the market works. We're going to talk about that on Wednesday. We're going to talk about the state of the real estate market, not only from the perspective of your investors, if you're raising private money for your investors, but also what's happening with the market, the economy. It's going to be just amazing. And then Thursday is the last show of Coffee with Michael. It's already been a month. Thursday, Scott and I are going to be on here giving a brand new presentation to you and teach you the 5 things you need to do to invest in real estate today. So I wanted to say that while we had a little moment there. Joel, I hope everything was okay because I have a great question. Kelly, can you throw in the link there? I think she threw it in the link, how to register. KeyspireCommunity.com/coffee with Michael. All the registration links are up now, so you can register for all of your sessions, and then we'll just send you a reminder email the day before.
Awesome.
All right. Here's a really cool question, guys, that I don't think I've ever asked a couple before. So this is a really good one.
Ooh.
This is, my questions are all, there it is. Julie Julia asks, hi, Julia. She says, I have one rental property with my husband and I'm ready to get going on more properties. So sometimes this is what happens is we kind of get the taste of one rental property and we say, holy shit, this is what I want to do with my life. Julia, by the way, this is what happened to me. I was in biomedical science in university. I wanted to be a doctor, which I still would love. Life was longer. I would still go to medical school and be a doctor. But then I got the taste of real estate and I got the taste in my mouth and I got that first property and I said, I want to be a real estate investor for the rest of my life. And so it happens, Julia. And so that's why we created KeySpires to help people to get that taste. But this is a really good question. She went to the 3-day training with Paul. Paul Hecht is one of our trainers. We had him on last week. My husband was not interested in going. So I think it looks like you went alone. Or maybe he came. And this is really common, guys, like having partners like Ray and Joe being in sync. You guys probably weren't always in sync, but you are now. But so Julia wants some advice. She says, when I wanted to join KeySpire, he's not on board to joining KeySpire. What was the thing that got you guys on board together? So what was the thing that got you guys to be able to invest in your education? And it looks like you've invested in other support programs as well, which I think is brilliant. What is it that got you guys to support each other? Or maybe Ray or Joanna, how did you get the other person on board if you both weren't on board to be able to say, I'm going to put money down in order to have a bigger future?
You go ahead, hon. Start this one.
So great question, Julia. Great question. Surprisingly, we were actually both in sync about this. And I think this is what, you know, we definitely do not always agree, but we were at a stage in our life where we were, you know, when we joined KeySpire, we were newly married and we were both in careers that, I mean, I love my job, but, you know, and Ray liked his job, but we were just not we were not where we wanted to be. And we didn't really see an out for us besides just doing this for another whoever knows how long. We watched like HGTV all the time and we talked about real estate all the time. And I saw the ad for Scott coming to do, you know, that 1-day thing and it was free. And, you know, we didn't have a lot of money and we thought, why don't we just go? You know, we didn't have kids at the time. So we were like, let's just go check it out. That'll be great. And of course, the second you go and you start realizing that this is possible, then we went to the 3-day. We actually had Paul as our speaker as well. He was amazing. It was just obvious to us that this was where we needed to go. When it came to the investment, that's where we were, you know, we kind of stumbled a bit because we were just like, where are we going to find this? But we knew this was going to be our path forward. We both felt very, very confident in that. So we were lucky. I'm sorry, that's probably not the answer you want to hear, but we were actually quite lucky that we were both in sync on investing in KeySpire and having this be our path forward to financial freedom.
Yeah, that is it's amazing when you're in sync like that. And you know, if I could give some advice is I think this kind of bridges into relationship advice, which I'm not qualified for, but it's kind of like you're doing this to be happy at home. So the most important thing is to be happy at home. So you don't want to go make a purchase, whether it's, you know, consumer-based purchase like car without having your spouse on board, or investing in your education without having your spouse on board. You want to go to a 4-year university class if they weren't on board with it, you know, a university degree or college or whatever. So I think having them on board is really important. I think that you can't change people or really change their mind. They have to organically come along with you. But I've talked to a lot of people in our community that says, my spouse isn't on board. They're just letting me do what I got to do. And I am going to prove to them that this is powerful. I'm going to prove to them with the results that this is something that not only I believe in, but it's something that's going to change our lives. And so the proof is in the pudding is, I think, what they say. And so that's probably what I've seen our inner circle members and even our coaching clients or our workshop people come through and say, I'm going to do it first and I'm going to show you what I can do. And then what happens is like, oh my goodness, this is true. It's what happened when I started. Nobody believed. People are like, oh, you're going to be a real estate investor instead of a doctor. All right. And
Yeah,
so, but then
I totally agree with you, Michael. And I think kind of a funny story on our sort of foray into that was when we bought our first investment property. So my mom is actually a real estate agent, and we bought our first investment property up in Barrie, and we didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell anybody for about a year that we had this property and we were running it, because we didn't want the we didn't want anybody to when people don't understand it, they're scared of it because you're talking in big numbers. And I remember Paul mentioned this at the 3-day. He said, how many of you have actually told people where you are this weekend? No one put up their hand. And we, same thing. We wanted to prove it to people that we can do this and that it's smart and it's good business. And now of course they're all on board and they're like, oh, that's amazing. How did you do that? So.
Oh, I just want to say this to Julie on her question. I'll be really, really succinct on it, which was Joe and I both were working corporate jobs. We were both doing well. We were both making good money. We live in Toronto, high cost of living. But even with that, we were working 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks. We'd come home, right? See the kids for an hour or two, dinner time, get them down to bed, put the laptops back on, work. It never stopped. The job never stopped. Evenings, weekends. I specialized in consumer engagements and events. So I was always on site at something. I was always traveling. I was always away. You know what? I could have done that job for the next 15 years. And, sure, we could have got along at this pace, but we really looked at the time exchange that we were doing, saying we're both putting in 60, 70 hours a week for, the jobs, right? Sure, we're getting the paycheck. Sure, we've got a house. Sure, we've got a car. Sure, we've got some stuff, but it's not really what we wanted. And it's not about the material items. It's about the ability to be able to control your future and craft it in a way and really value your time to be able to create that money or that security, whatever you want to deem it as. So when we looked at it saying, this is ridiculous, like we pay our nanny more than our mortgage every single month. Our nanny's got more time with our children. This is upside down. This doesn't make sense. And that's when we really realized we knew what real estate had done for us on our first one. And we said, by taking this next step and joining a community that knows and can empower us and can give us the tools and the knowledge, we can continue to take more steps. And I think the analogy is consistent across the board. If you want to play at the pro level, you got to get a coach, you got to get a mentor, you got to get the training, and you got to surround yourself with those individuals and those people, because it's not just about the information, it's about the mindset. You have to be in the community of people that know this works, that can show you how, and that you can work with. Because it's not conventional, right? We're all told the same thing from school: get a job, pay down the mortgage, save for your retirement, hope for a good day to come. It's not the conventional thinking. And that's why we didn't tell family for a year. We didn't want them to be, you guys have done a horrible thing, more debt load. Oh, more debt, you've got another mortgage. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, well, we've got cash flow every single month. We've got mortgage pay down. I've got market appreciation that's happening. And you know what? If the paychecks stop, that's fine, because that place is running itself and paying for itself. So that seemed like a smart move to go. And that's really what pushed us in that direction.
Well said. I could not agree more about, in particular, about investing in education. I've invested in my whole life, and I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my education and mastermind groups, and it's what has driven me, elevated me every single time. So I couldn't agree more. And I'm looking at the chat. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the chat to help with this question. Chris says, give them time, share the small victories. They'll get there. Cheryl says, getting my husband to watch videos one at a time until it clicks. I love it. So I want to hear from everyone watching. If you have a little tip or a little secret that we can help anyone who is not cannot get their spouse on board with either real estate investing or their life vision or their journey or their purpose, just give us a little in the chat. Let's help everyone out here. And what is your number one tip to get your spouse, life partner on board with you to come along any sort of journey? In this case, it's real estate investing, but to come along the journey with you. I'd love to hear everyone's little tips and thoughts. All right, we got a couple more questions here in our time. Do you guys have a couple more minutes?
Yeah, totally.
You probably learned by now, I set this show for half an hour, but it's an hour. So I don't know why I do that, but we got so much, there's so much to talk about.
know.
Okay, here's some quick rapid fire tactical questions I want to see if we can answer. The first one is for all three of us. Julie asks, which website builders are you using? Michael, Ray, and Joe. And
We use Wix.
Wix? All
Wix.
right.
It was easy, straightforward. I'm not a designer, but it was just a really easy user platform to get it done. I think it took me a day, and then Joe went in and she revised all the copy, made some image changes, and published. So it was pretty straightforward.
Excellent. Yeah, I've heard great things about Wix. I use two different strategies. One is for more of a custom website. I need more of a custom company. So when you think about our online training and things like that, we're going to custom build all that. But just for like landing page, it's called a landing page. When you create awareness and somebody wants to learn about you and then they land somewhere for get information, that's called a landing page in the internet marketing world. So for landing pages, I use a software called ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is an amazing, I just love it. We can whip up a page with my team in like 5 minutes or less. It's $97 a month. If anyone's interested in using ClickFunnels, I think we can we have a 14-day free trial because we're such a high user. So if you guys are interested, shoot a note to contact@keyspire.com and we'll see if we can get you guys a 14-day free trial to ClickFunnels where you can start building your own web pages for free for 14 days. And then you just cancel it if it's not what you're looking for. So that's what I use to just whip some pages together. Both great options. Yeah. Okay. What else do we got here? So Chris asked a great question. Is your marketing bringing enough potential JV partner leads in, or are you still cold calling potential partners? Do you cold call people? What does that mean to you? Or does the marketing bring in enough people that you can bring them in through your customer journey?
Do you want to go, Hun?
No, so I was just going to say quickly, I think as we've learned in the JV space, there's two ways you can go about it. You either get the partner first or you get the deal first. And I think people are of both minds. And I think it happens both ways. Through our journey, we've met so many people. And again, going back to, it's like a broken record, kind of going back to the building of relationships. We're always meeting new people and we're always wanting to grow and hear about other potential partners and talk to them about their goals and find out how we can help them. But we also have, lots of people that we know and we already kind of know who they are and what their goals are. And so now we can go out and look for a deal for those people. Sometimes it happens in the reverse. Ray will come across an amazing deal and he'll either think of, oh, who might love this is so-and-so, or maybe not. Maybe we don't have anybody. And so we'll actually go out and we'll market it as a potential JV new opportunity. So I don't know, Han, if you want to add to that.
I'll just say, hey, Chris, with that, we're always having those conversations, quote unquote, planting those seeds. Michael showed us the vegetable garden that he does last week. And it's the same thing for us. We're always planting those seeds. And it goes back to what you talked about with Wendy and Mike yesterday about finding their problem, find out what their problem is and how you can solve it. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. If I can, I'm definitely going to, do my best at it. The other thing that we do is when we post anything about a joint venture opportunity, we post some of the information, but not all the information. And there is a strategy behind that, which is we want to be able to send out the information via email. And that allows us to build that database as well. So, I think we've done 2 or 3 offerings at this point in time. We have a database of well over 200 people that have contacted us, and we understand now what they're looking for. So in terms of, when I come across something, there are certain people I go, I know that they'd be interested in this, so I can go directly to them. So those are a couple things.
Excellent. That was Candace had that question as well. I'm seeing, do you find the property first or the JV partner first? So hopefully Candace, that answered it as well. Joe just brought it up organically because it's such an important question and answer. My perspective on that one, do you find the property first or JV partner first? I like to find the partner first. So in terms of how I did this, I don't actively raise money for JV partners. I'm on the other side. I'm investing my money at this point. But what I would do is I would find interest. I would find the partners. I would build an email list of people that were interested, that had a problem that I could solve. And then if I had so I had people that were interested in the type of deal structure I'd create. And then when a deal came up, I would lock it out. I would lock it under contract. That means that you put a conditional offer on the other side. They accept the offer and you have a conditional period. Sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it's 30 days, depending on what you can negotiate. During that conditional period is when I would want to get the JV partner in. So the JV partner, have them come in, offer it to my group of 10, 50, 100 people. And somebody, if your list is large enough and you have enough of an audience, somebody's going to say, yeah, I'll do that deal. And especially when you have a proven track record. So my approach doesn't mean it's the right approach for everybody, but this really worked well for me. I get the audience, I get the list of people that are interested, so that when I have an opportunity, we can move fast on a 4 or 5 day conditional period. So that's how I like to do it. Okay, we have time for, it's 11:56 already. We'll do one more question and then we'll give you guys, get some final thoughts here. There's so many good ones. Kelly asks, this is a good one. Do you set up a corporation for each JV? So what's kind of the relationship? Is there a corporation for each joint venture partner you have, money partner? Is there a different contract, different bank account? Maybe some of those details.
So we don't do it by we don't set up individual corporations for each particular JV. They do fall under our company, which is BV&Co. It is an incorporated company here in Ontario. It's licensed, numbered, all that sort of thing. Where we do divide it is by bank accounts. So, and that's bank accounts by the joint venture partner, not by the property. So in a joint venture partner, if they have 2 or 3 properties that we're working with them on, all that is going into that one account, because setting up multiple accounts, and our goals are to be able to acquire a fair amount of properties. It just becomes a managing and logistics nightmare if we had one account, one corporation for each particular one. So it's too much. So we've really simplified it, and this is based upon some of the experience and some of the mentorship that we've been provided as well.
Excellent, thank you. Joe, anything to add there?
No, I'd just say, it may, who knows, it may get to a stage where we need to have a bank account for every property. We're not there yet. Fingers crossed. We'll, get to that point soon. But yeah, so right now, I think we're very much just, it's under our business. We have one account per partner.
Yeah, and I think one account is completely fine. It's like if you were to run any other business and you were to have 10 products that you were selling, and you have different customers for each product and different volumes of each product, you're not going to open 10 bank accounts for each of the product. You're going to have one bank account, and then you're going to have an accounting system that says this product made this much, this product made this much and cost this much. I see the same thing with the properties. Your properties have their own P&L, profit and loss statement, which is your income, your minus expenses, and your profitability. And there should be no reason you can't put that through one bank account, because bank accounts, even though they're only 10 or 15 bucks each, they'll add up, right? There's just another expense on the business. So quick last question. This one's for Raymond. I don't know if Joe, you might have some context on where you'll be here. Ray, Elaine wants to know, did you quit your job before buying your first property? How do you decide when to, in other words, how do you decide when to leave what you're doing that's good to get to something that you believe is great?
That's a really good question. I didn't quit my job. There was a phone call that I had made to Joe one day, and I was ready to walk out. That's for sure. I was really unhappy. And she said, no.
I was like, don't you dare, you wait for a package.
Yeah, you stick till you get that package. And that's what I did. And that was how I transitioned into full-time real estate, because it gave us enough funds to be able to get things up and running and started. It was a leap of faith. There was no doubt about it. Could it have gone bad? Yeah. Did I have a lot of concern? Yeah. My wife, my children, the life, everything. I didn't want to see it flush down the tube. But no, I didn't quit my job, but I did walk away with a healthy enough package that I knew it was enough to be able to get us through the initial stages, to be able to get us up and running.
Good, yeah, and that's a scary situation to go through. So I commemorate you for getting through that and coming out stronger on the other end. My quick thoughts here are: don't quit your job until your cash flow or your total wealth increase matches your job income. And always, you need your job in order to qualify for financing. Like, unless you're, wealthy and rich and you don't need financing. So keep your job, qualify for financing, get to the point where you don't need the income anymore, and then you can transition over. That seems to be the safest way to transition. And there's so many different variants of, leaving or getting left, all of those pieces. Okay, that is all of our time. We have gone for exactly 1 hour. So, wow, the time flies. Thank you, Ray and Joe, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was awesome. This was great.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Michael, for inviting us on. It's a real honor, as well as doing this platform for the month of April for the community. I think it's been one of the best value adds and give backs that you've done. And thank you to the Keyspire community and the Keyspire team for making this all happen.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I think together, the three of us, I think we added a lot of value to a lot of people today. So that's what counts here. That's the important thing. All right, guys, have a great day. Go see what those kids are up to, and stay safe. Everybody watching, stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow at 11
o'clock. Bye, guys.
O'clock.
Thank you.
Financing Fridays. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye, everyone.